All right, it's now time to welcome in to a special sit down with two native Minnesotans who will be playing for their home club in the USLW League, Minnesota Aurora, this summer. It's Kenzie Langdok and Morgan Turner. Kenzie, Morgan, thank you so much for joining the show. I appreciate it. How you both doing?
Good. How are you? Thanks so much for having us.
Very, very good. Very excited for this interview. Very excited to talk to you both. This is our first time kind of talking to players from Minnesota Aurora as these announcements are sort of coming in and starting to get a good look at who's on the roster, how many of those are have local ties, things like that. So it's an exciting time and excited to talk to you about that. But here in the Twin Cities, and you actually stayed local, playing at the U of M. Tell me a little bit about that youth background, sort of growing up and the decision. Morgan, obviously you went to DePaul to play for Coach Chastain there. Kenzie, you sort of stayed here at the U of M. So talk to me about kind of quick background of your youth sort of soccer experience, and then how that led to your decision to go to the U of M.
Yep. So I started playing for MTA around U10 and then ended up switching to Maplebrook for a couple years. Once I committed to Minnesota, I switched back to MTA for like 17s and 18s. Choosing to go to Minnesota was pretty easy for me. I'm pretty homebodied. I wanted my family to be able to come to my games, wanted to play for my home state. So that was a pretty easy choice for me because I knew I didn't want to go super far. And then, loved my time at Minnesota. Loved having Coach Chastain, especially this last year. So, and excited to stay home again and play for Aurora coming up this summer.
Yeah, very interesting tie for you two. You guys have both played for Coach Chastain at different schools. So we'll get into that in just a little bit. But Morgan, you and Kenzie go back quite a while from your youth soccer days. But talk to me about kind of, your sort of upbringing through that system and then the decision to go to DePaul to play for Coach Chastain.
Yeah, so Kenzie and I played on the same team since we played for MTA U10. So played for MTA, then Maplebrook, which was really convenient for me because I also live Maple Grove. And then I went to Wayzata High School, and then I picked DePaul just because I really love the school. I love the coaches, and I really love being in Chicago. It was so much fun. So I had a really great college experience. I stayed there for 5 years, and then this summer I was looking for a team to play on. And I was just really excited to be able to play like one more season of competitive soccer. So, I was really excited about it.
I actually went to school in the Chicago suburbs, so I can relate. I did an internship in the city too. I can relate that Chicago is a very, very fun place. So, I echo that. Kenzie, so let's talk about your college career at U of M a little bit. Kind of started really sophomore year, Big Ten tournament. You scored the penalty kick in the Big Ten tournament championship game in the 7th round of PKs. Pretty big spot for a sophomore to be in. Did that moment itself do anything for your confidence and kind of how you can handle big moments on the field like that? Talk to me about that a little bit.
Definitely. I mean, I wasn't playing a ton of minutes in the games at that point. So we were training PKs like all fall season, especially once we got closer to Big Ten tournament time. So I had a pretty good idea going into the tournament that I was going to be somewhere in the 10. Once coach told me I was going to be 7, I was like, okay, like confident, knew I could do it, but I was like, well, I might not have to. And then I knew Maddie, our goalkeeper at that time, was going to make a save. So just had to do my job, but definitely helped my confidence as a player to know that like I could handle those big moments. So that was one of my favorite memories for sure at Gopher Soccer.
I mean, when you're in the 7th round, kind of 7th on the list, you're not sure if that's going to get called, if you're going to get called upon. And if you can rest assured that if you're called upon in the 7th round, it's probably in a pretty big spot. So obviously came through and helped the Gophers take home the title there. This past season, though, you really started to, under Coach Chastain is when, a lot of people, a lot of girls on the team really started to come into their own. I know you've probably talked about this so much already, but the goal that was Sports Center top 10 worthy, pretty cool moment there too. take us through that moment if you could, and specifically, like, when did you find out that it had sort of gotten like the national sports level buzz that it did? Did you know that you kicked a banger and it might be might get on social media somewhere, or did it take you by surprise?
I mean, so in that moment, I knew that I made pretty good contact with the ball. Like, I felt good about it when I made contact with it. Didn't realize on the replay that it was like gonna get a lot of attention until I like got back to my apartment. So we moped to our fields out here. So after the game, just kind of like talked with my family, changed out of the jersey, went upstairs, got food, and then mopeded home. And then I felt like I was on my phone like the rest of the night. But it was pretty cool. It's a pretty cool moment. Definitely a lot of confidence going into this season with playing outside, switching to outside back, and just having a lot of support from Coach Chastain and the rest of the staff. So yeah, it was awesome.
I mean, it was funny. I was actually here in my basement recording an episode of the podcast, and I just happened to have Sports Center on next to me.
Yeah.
Yes, Gabby. I know it's stuck, isn't it? Here, do you want to wear this? Sorry about this. 1 second.
Right.
Multitasking at its finest. Here you go. You can't do that? Okay. Okay, I need you to play quietly, okay? Daddy's working. Okay. Anyways. So I was here. I didn't have my daughter with me at the time, but I was here down in the basement. It was like, I don't know, 11:30. I was working. I actually just got done recording a podcast, and I had Sports Center on the TV kind of right next to where I'm working here. And all of a sudden, the Sports Center top 10, I see it was like number 7 on the top 10, and boom, there you are. And I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome. Because I had seen it on Twitter like earlier in the night. I'm like, oh, that's going to gain some traction. I didn't realize it would end up on Sports Center top 10. So that's a pretty awesome moment for sure. I mean, it's got to be for you.
Yeah, and I didn't either. Even after I saw it on Twitter, I was like, oh, it's a cool goal, but wasn't expecting Sports Center for sure. So that was cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very cool moment there. Morgan, let's talk about your career at DePaul. You just finished your career with some pretty impressive accolades. 3-time All Big East, 4th all-time on the school's all-time scoring list, led the team in scoring this past season. Was there a moment for you where you really started to feel that you were maybe coming into your own as a soccer player and maybe could consistently compete at a high level and maybe do something more kind of after your college career was over? Was there sort of that, I don't know, moment of realization for you at any time?
Yeah, for sure. I think my junior year, I really started to develop as a player. I think my freshman and sophomore year were 2 really good years to me to just learn a lot about the college game. I think, especially your freshman year, you're really adjusting, and I think it is really big transition. And so I think I really grew into my role as a junior, and I was able to make more of an impact that year. And then I think our team also did really well that year. We had some really big wins, and so it was just really fun to get some wins against ranked teams. And then also, I think that was when I really just started to love playing college soccer, and I ended up staying there for 3 extra years after that. So I think that was probably my biggest year for me. So.
Yeah, definitely. And we mentioned kind of the tie with Coach Chastain for both of you. Morgan, you played under Coach Chastain for your first 4 years at DePaul. Talk a little bit about her, impact on your development and how she sort of, helped mold you as a player during your college career.
Yeah, for sure. I learned so much from Erin. I think especially just in toughness and coming up in big moments. I think learning how to score goals in overtime and when it mattered most. I think I learned a lot from her. And I also learned a lot tactically in college. I think that was something I also really had to learn. So Erin made a huge impact on me. So I'm really grateful for that.
Definitely. And Kenzie, you got to play for Coach Erin Chastain this last year for the Gophers. Talk about the impact she sort of made on the program when she came in, and sort of how she was able to, help you guys out, and sort of the impact on you specifically in just 1 short year playing for her. I mean, you have another year coming up, but this first year.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. No, I think you can tell in my play just how big of an impact that Erin had on me in such a short period of time. I played super confident, was really understood my role and knew what was expected of me. And I think that just comes from how she is as a coach. She's super honest. She's straight up with you. She knows a lot about the game. I learned a lot in like a super short period of time. And I think she believes in us, and I think we ran with that as a team, and we knew that like she had high expectations of us, but that she had those expectations because she knew that we could get there and we could achieve them. So I think just as a whole, she had a huge impact on me as a player. And honestly, I don't think I would be playing still if she wasn't our coach this last season. I think I probably would have just called it and been happy with where I was at, but left me wanting a little bit more. So super thankful for her, for sure.
Definitely. Morgan, let's transition now and talk about Minnesota Aurora. So you've obviously been spending a lot of time in Chicago at DePaul, as we previously mentioned. So you're kind of outside the Minnesota bubble here, but obviously still keeping tabs on what's happening locally. So tell me about when you kind of first heard this new Minnesota women's soccer team and, the excitement level of your potential, being part of that.
Yeah, so I think a couple months ago I had seen some things about Aurora on social media, but I didn't really know what it was. And then Matt Barazzi reached out to me and asked if I'd be interested in playing, and then he connected me with Nicole. And I just thought it was super cool how excited everyone is about women's soccer. And I think that's super important for women's soccer to receive like this kind of media attention and excitement. And I thought it was so cool how many people are invested in this team. So I just knew it was something I wanted to be a part of.
Had you known about the community, the community funding and everything they had gotten at the time when you first got the call about potentially playing, or did you learn about that afterwards?
I learned about it afterwards, yeah. And then in talking to Nicole right before I decided to play.
Awesome. What was that first conversation with Nicole like? Obviously, she's going to be your head coach. What was that? What was that like? And just the initial impressions that you got of her, being that she will be, play such a vital role for you this summer.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's super cool how Aurora has an all-female coaching staff. I think that was something I was really excited about. And I think I could just see how passionate she is about this team. And so I just could see like how invested everyone is in it. And I think it's just a super exciting opportunity. So
definitely. Kenzie, obviously you staying here this summer with Aurora. How did you get in contact with them? It's kind of the same story as Morgan, where Matt reached out to you, or did you make first contact? How did that initial connection go between you and Aurora?
So it was my introduction to Aurora was pretty similar to Morgan. I remember hearing about them this summer or fall. They had like a launch party, and it was at our field at ELR, and I wasn't able to go, but I researched a little bit. And when I went to the state fair, I stopped by their booth and learned more about the team and kind of expressed interest in playing at that point. And then I had talked to Matt a little bit about it, but then they posted on Twitter or something. It was a tryout date, and I messaged Nicole, I emailed her, and I was like, I can't make the tryout date because I have to coach, but I would love to be part of the team. Would love to talk to you and learn more. And then after chatting with her a little bit, was just super excited. And I could tell, like Morgan said, that she was really excited to be there. And it's super refreshing to see the excitement and the attention that women's soccer is getting here. And so I knew that I wanted to be a part of it too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it kind of, to me at least, it really started over this last fall with not just Minnesota Aurora, but I feel like, you guys, the Gophers, started to get a ton of buzz. The attendance numbers were through the roof. Obviously the product on the field was a lot more exciting. Did you kind of have those impressions that okay, people are really starting to really come out and support women's soccer in general, even before Minnesota Aurora was even announced as a thing?
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, our attendance numbers were super high all fall. And that was something that we had. I mean, last year was COVID, so it was maybe a little bit of that too, going from having no fans to having the community support that we did. But yeah, I could definitely feel that it was women's soccer is gaining a little bit more traction here. So super excited.
Yeah, Morgan, one of the biggest differences between the W League and sort of maybe some other options for summer soccer is that, you don't have to pay a fee to play, right? And that's a big thing for a lot of people. Can you add some context to just how big that is and to how much stress or added brain space that can just relieve, knowing that you don't have to maybe fork up an investment just to play and try to continue to develop over the summer?
Yeah, for sure. I think it makes a huge difference. And I think it'll make a really big difference for college students in general who are wanting to play on a team, just because, money is really tight in college. And so I'm coming back over the summer. We want to play on a team for a short period of time, but we also don't want to have to pay an extra fee. So I think it makes a really big difference.
Absolutely. Kenzie, do you want to add anything to that in terms of like prior experiences playing summer soccer and how this may be a little bit, different, not just in the financial aspect, but just kind of in the overall, hype of the team and all the things that might be different this summer than you're used to?
Yeah, obviously what Morgan said about not having to pay, like as a player, I feel like that's huge and is a huge draw, right? Because like Morgan said, money's tight in college. So that's super exciting. And then I think another aspect that's super cool about this new league is just like we're playing at the Vikings training facility, and like that seats like 6,000 people. And so the community support tied with like the resources and all of the things that come along with that, I think is super exciting and allows for more support than like say a WPSL team where it's mostly just families coming of the players coming to watch. And so I think I'm excited for an atmosphere that's a little bit more similar to college soccer.
Definitely. Another thing that'll be unique this time around is you kind of both single-handedly get to play alongside somebody who has, broken barriers in both men's and women's athletics in Sarah Fuller. Morgan, what was your reaction when you first found out that you were going to be a teammate of Sarah's, and have you gotten a chance to talk to her yet?
I have not gotten to talk to her yet. Honestly, I was shocked. I had no idea she was going to play on the team. So I was super excited. I actually got to play against her last spring. We played Vanderbilt in the spring game. So I actually have played against her before. But I'm super excited to meet her and play with her. I think it'll be so much fun.
Definitely. Kenzie, this also kind of gives you, access to somebody at that level that not a lot of people really get, in terms of somebody who's just, has the notoriety, and somebody who is doing this at a kind of a high level. What does it mean to you to be able to play alongside someone who has been such a inspiration to not only women's soccer players or women's athletes, but just women in general?
Yeah, like Morgan said, it's super cool to actually be able to like get to meet her. Like I've seen obviously a ton about her on social media, but more so than like it being cool for like Morgan and I to play with her, I think it's super cool that a bunch of like young female soccer players in Minnesota are going to get to watch her play at games and like see what it's like to play at this level. And so I think it's really cool for the community here in Minnesota that she's coming. So yeah, super cool.
That actually perfectly leads into my next question about, the USL's kind of new commitment to women's soccer and how that in general it could inspire the next generation. To me, one of the biggest impacts that they can make here, both the W League and Super League, is it just provides not only college soccer players and younger pros a new platform to play, but more representation and opportunities it can show to the next generation of women's players, right? It's not just the NWSL. there's in a market like Minnesota, it's not an NWSL team, but it's kind of treated like that right now. And it's kind of as the hype, and it's got a lot of, talk about the season ticket sales or there have already been, or the season ticket deposits there have already been. There's a lot of people that want to come out and see this team, and probably families with a lot of young girls that are going to come out and see this team. My two girls growing up in an era where there's, two women's professional soccer leagues in America, this very, very high level semi-pro league in the W League now, this local team right here in Minnesota. Have you thought about that at all, Morgan, in terms of just being part of maybe this like initial boom in opportunity for aspiring players, but also like off the field? When you think of like marketing people and front office, aspiring women in front offices, like this gives them a new opportunity as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I always want to be part of helping to grow the game and, contributing to helping girls have more opportunities to play soccer and to see like women's soccer players being able to play at a high level and being able to aspire to play professionally. I think that's super important. And so I also think just the amount of excitement we've received is also just a testament to like how people are so excited about women's soccer. And I think like if we're given the platforms and the opportunities to play at these high levels, like just how far women's soccer can go. And so, yeah, I think it's super important. I think that's also what partially drew me to Aurora, is because it also gives us that opportunity. So.
Yeah, and sometimes my 5-year-old will lay with me on a Saturday morning, and we'll watch the Premier League or La Liga or whatever's on, and it's like, yeah, that's cool, but like there's a huge difference in her watching that with me on TV on a Saturday morning and like getting to go to TCO Stadium this summer and actually watch a women's soccer team play. Like that's just a huge difference to me, and it's cool that we're getting that opportunity right here in Minnesota, and obviously very exciting for you guys to be a part of that. So now we're going to switch gears. And we're going to ask a couple of get to know you questions here. So what we're going to do is, you guys are going to have a lot of teammates coming in from out of town, coming in from other parts of the country. Sarah Fuller has kind of already put on social media. She's looking for the best taco places in Minnesota. So let's have a scenario where in the locker room, one of your teammates asks you where to go to eat. They don't necessarily say they're looking for something specific. They're just like, give me one recommendation on where I should go to get something to eat. What is your number one? What's your go-to that you're telling them? Kenzie, you want to go first?
Yeah, I think right now, I would say Centro. It's a taco place, which is fitting for Sarah, but it's in Northeast, super close, super good. I love their tacos. So I would probably say Centro at the moment.
All right, Morgan, I know you're not, you're in Chicago, but obviously from Minnesota, you've spent some time here. So where's your favorite place to go? Where's that place that you're recommending if you're asked?
I don't know about my favorite place, but a place that comes to mind is actually when Kenzie and I were in high school, the two of us and the other two girls we carpool with always went to My Burger after practice on Thursdays. So that's definitely one of my favorites. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been to the My Burger on Grand Avenue in St. Paul more times than I'd like to admit. So yeah, lot of burgers consumed there. So we had mentioned that you guys are playing at TCO. That's your home stadium, right next to the Vikings training facility. Are you both Vikings fans at all? Football fans?
Yeah, but it's always kind of a letdown. But yes, I am indeed a Vikings fan.
Me as well.
Morgan, what about you?
I'm also a Vikings fan.
Okay. So let's say you're out training at TCO or you're out playing, and there are a few maybe Vikings players who are at the facility that you might get to meet. Who is that one Viking that you would want to meet if given the opportunity?
Adam Thielen.
Okay. Morgan, you can't say Adam Thielen now. That's taken off. That's off the board.
I had to go.
I might be happy, honestly.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you both, Kenzie and Morgan, for the time. We have one more question here. Very broad question for both of you, but sort of about what's next. So you're officially part of Minnesota Aurora. Season's a little over 3 months away. What happens now between sort of now and May? Sort of what's on the docket for each of you? Kenzie, you want to go first?
Sure. So I am still finishing up school. I'm student teaching right now, so I'll finish that up. That goes until May. So until we start training. And then I'm also coaching a U15 girls team at St. Mike STMA United and just trying to train as much as I can. I'm training with a boys team there. And then there's a place in Northeast called 9th Street Coffee and Soccer, and they do pickup.
Great
so
fan of theirs.
Yep. So Saturday mornings, I go there, still trying to figure out another day of the week that I'm going to go, but that was super fun. I went the first time this last week, so definitely going to keep doing that and then just keeping on training.
You try any of the coffee at 9th Street yet? I know it's not officially open, but it's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
It's good.
Derek and the team over there do an excellent job. 9th Street's actually one of our sponsors, so that's why I'm talking. No, I'm not just talking them up because they're one of our sponsors, but it's awesome. There's a reason why they're one of our sponsors, because they're so excellent.
Yeah.
Morgan, what are you doing this spring between now and when that W League season is going to start?
Yeah, so I'm actually just finishing up my quarter of grad school, and then I'm moving back to Minnesota in April. So I'll be ready to play in May. And yeah, so I'm just kind of in the transition of moving back home, and I'm not quite sure what I'm doing next, but I'm really excited to play for the summer team. So.
Well, we are very excited to keep track and watch you both on the field for Minnesota Aurora this summer. MN Aurora FC on Twitter. Check them out. New players signing announcements every single day. It's an exciting time. Do you guys get sort of the scoop on who's going to be joining the team before these announcements come out, or do you learn on Twitter like the rest of us?
Yeah, we also learn on Twitter.
That is awesome.
And
That's actually kind of
the group chat.
That's kind of comforting to know. All right, yeah. Kenzie, Morgan, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Sweet. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.